Welcome to the second episode of the Operation Common Sense podcast. I'm joined today by Dima. He's our guest for the episode. And as always, we have Matt, who likes to act like a 12-year-old during our podcast.
I hope you guys are doing good today. We've got the Ukrainian dream today. Dima, straight off his Joe Biden funded private jet from Kiev. He's landed in Alpharetta, and he's ready to talk to us about Russia, Ukraine today.
I wasn't around for the Saturday. This was at the No Kings protest, so I'm just coming back in with the rest of my useless idiot friends. I mean, useful idiots.
Yeah, no, we're glad you're here. Yeah, second episode. Obviously, you know where to find us on every major podcast platform. So whenever you're listening, go ahead, hit the follow, subscribe button, and be part of the conversation. Yeah, so we wanted to dive into Russia, Ukraine today. As we saw this morning, there were new sanctions.
Yes, yeah.
First, I think first sanctions on the two major oil companies. I don't know if that really affects maybe Germany. I think doesn't Germany get oil, or some of the EU countries get oil from Russia still?
Yeah, there's I don't think it's Germany. There's
might as well be Germany.
Yeah, it might as well be. But there's a few small countries that are still like they actually, since the war started, they actually are relying more on the Russian oil because it got cheaper. So go figure.
Oh, yeah. And just for the audience's sake, you don't know him like we do, but he's a friend and neighbor. Dima, do you want to explain a little bit about your background? That way people understand why you're able to weigh in on this topic so well.
I was born in Ukraine, moved here when I was, that's
just so the viewers know, you can't see it, but
oh no, they can see it.
Trusty Matt has brought in a laser pointer.
Actually, I was given this at the front desk
in the shape of a male genitalia, and he's putting it on my face. So there's that. Anyway, Dima, go ahead.
So moved here when I was 9. Half my family is still over there.
You moved here from
Ukraine.
From the Ukraine. Okay.
Yep. Half my family is still there. So obviously, since the war started, I've kind of been following it closely because I have, vested interest in it. But, yeah. So just been, living here in Alpharetta County most of my life.
It's been over 1,300 days at this point. A lot of stalled peace talks. I think they're stalled again. They were set to go to the table again. I think Putin and Trump to discuss ending this war. I think that's starting to stall now, hence why the sanctions came across. I'm trying to figure out here what's the end game, right? Because this thing's been going for a long time. And, there's a number of different avenues that you can go through here. I mean, when you look at the land grab from Putin, you notice it's only under Democratic presidents.
You're saying it seems like every time there's a Democrat in power, Putin seems to grab a little more traction.
Right, and the reason for that is because they're weak, right?
And this was 2014.
And then you got Biden. Obviously, Biden gave up, a bunch of land, and now he's in office, or was in office, and Ukraine came under attack again, right? Because what have they, in history, what have they done? What have they done to stop Putin? Like, Putin has a free run. I don't think if Trump won the last election that he does what he does, what he did under Biden. Like, it wouldn't happen under Trump. I guess the question is, if there is a peace offering here and there's a peace deal, I mean, it's got to include the land that he's taken from Ukraine, right?
What, kind of like a buyback? Not, except obviously not in cash.
No, I mean, it's got to include that land. Like, he's not just going to walk off and say, okay, all these deaths and everything else are for nothing, and all this effort, and not including all of his buddies that got things sanctioned and taken away from him and blah blah blah. Like, the step away from that is that's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
You got to think their goal from when the war started, right, was to take over the Ukrainian government, right, within like 3 days.
They got the island for almost overnight, right?
That happened, right? And then they were basically marching in there with like parade uniforms, with like 3 days worth of rations. They weren't expecting to really fight, so they came in there expecting to be, just coming in with like flowers and whatever bouquets thrown at them as like liberators. So obviously that didn't happen. So since then, the shift started. So first, I think Putin came out and said that the Russian speakers are getting oppressed, right? That was the first thing. Then it was like the Nazi regime of Ukraine.
Yeah, he had mentioned that which is, it seems like hearsay, but that was his stance, right? He was like, just so you know, there's Nazis in there.
Right. Yeah. So, denazification, whatever. Then
Yeah.
demilitarization, right? Then NATO, then no NATO, right? And everybody was like, oh, well, that's the reason why. Well, Finland and Switzerland, right? Because of this war, joined NATO. They have a bigger border with Ukraine or with Russia than Ukraine does. So if they were worried about NATO, and then did you even? I don't think they even made the news.
Yeah.
I don't think they even mentioned anything because, like, what are they going to do? Like, what's Putin going to do about that? Nothing. So it just comes down to, like, hey, the reason why he's doing all of this is he's just trying to unify back the Soviet Union, essentially. Like, he's trying to create that back. But it's
Rebuild the Russian Empire, right?
Exactly. But you got, there's a reason why it fell apart, because it was a bad idea back then, and it's even worse idea now. Now these countries are like realize that they don't have to have Putin dictate, how they live their lives.
Yeah.
So, obviously it's not going to happen. Obviously, Ukraine doesn't want that to happen.
Is there in-country support for Russia and Ukraine?
So before
we're meeting from 91, is there still some like outlying groups there?
Yes. So before the war started, there was not a lot, but there were some regions that were predominantly Russian. And then of course they were more sympathized with Russians, right? But now that the war started, I'd say it's pretty much unanimously like hated by everybody. There is not a single, I would say it's in the single digits probably support for Russians anywhere in Ukraine, just because somebody you knew either is in the war, somebody you knew is dead because of the war, or somebody on the other side that you knew is now dead because of the war. So it's, like those cultures were pretty linked together.
Matt, what do you think about them trying to starve out Russia by means of shutting down oil and energy? Like, do you think that's going to be effective, or you think he's just going to be like, there's lives lost, I've lost resources, I'm not going down without keeping what I gained?
I think Putin's legacy is at stake here, right? And that's kind of why he wants to rebuild this Russia.
Kind of an ego thing going on.
Yeah, it's how he's going to get known in history as the guy that came back and rebuilt this Russian empire. I don't think he can get out of this war, right?
Yep.
So I think he's having some exit issues. I think that
so okay, he can't get out because of what he set up. He's like, we're on it now.
I think it's so costly.
Like, ride the ship down, basically.
I think it's so costly to Russia, and it's so costly to the oligarchs and so forth. Quitting's not an option because people have lost too much. The people in power and the money factor over there have lost too much on this whole theory of rebuilding the Russian empire. And so I don't think there's an easy way out. Also, I think that the one thing that comes to my mind is that for over all these years, we see Russia as a kind of all-level adversary. Like, okay, these guys are a superpower. I think, you ever come across those guys in high school where the reputation is way worse than the bite?
The bite, yeah.
Yeah, everybody said, hey, this guy can fight, and all of a sudden, you kick his ass because the guy can't fight for shit.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's Russia. I think Russia has been humbled, and I think the world has learned that, hey, Russia may not be as strong as they let on to be. Because Ukraine, giving them a run for their money.
And they're smaller.
They're smaller, they're less funded. I don't want to say it's a hodgepodge military, but they're not as established as a Russian military would be.
I'll tell you the reason why. Part of the reason why Russian military isn't what it is on paper, right? Let's say
like our history book.
Their history book.
They're terrified.
I have a friend. She's a major in the Army, and she was. We'll talk about that. That is not the case, and the reason why I know that couldn't have been the case is because their entire military structure is set up where, like, if you're a commander over some people, right, and you're like, hey, my guys don't have bulletproof vests, right? Well, why don't you guys have bulletproof vests, right? Like they were all fine. They were supposed to be equipped, right? But now you're like, okay, well, that's because I got vodka with that money. Instead of buying bulletproof vests, right?
Yeah.
So now he's reporting to the other guy right above him, because obviously he can't report anything bad. Like if you do, you're done, right?
Yeah.
Like career or whatever, you might go to jail, whatever, right? So you're like, no, everything is great over here, right? The general is like, things are great. We got 1,000 tanks, right? The mechanics aren't saying that half those tanks don't have transmissions in them because they've sold them for vodka, right? So now they're
Really?
oh yeah, like you got to think when the war started, they realized that like thousands of tanks, like 1 out of 10 would start, kind of thing.
So it's a show of force, but
It's
not
just
an act of
yeah,
force.
there was nothing was nothing when it came actually down to it, nothing was as what it was on paper. The whole system is built where the lower when they have to report to the top, they always report everything is good because it cannot possibly be anything bad, because if it is, then like what the hell have we been doing all this time before, right? Like to get to that point. So and then that's how the whole structure is.
So it's just everyone kind of smoke and mirrors.
Yep.
They've been humbled in this process. I don't think they're the big challenge to other NATO countries as we initially thought, because when this war started, it's like, all right, what's next? Is it Poland or is it wherever else? And then you drag NATO into it, and I think Putin doesn't want Ukraine to join NATO. I think that's going to be a showstopper. For the peace.
Yeah,
because then you get the protection of all, the allies and so forth. There's not going to be a peace deal put in place that doesn't include the land already taken. I think that's just going to be gone. I think that Ukrainian land is going to be gone, and it's going to be Russian. And maybe to him, that's the only exit of a win.
Just look at what we got.
That we got land, right?
Gain traction.
Here's my other theory, right? I'm going to throw this out there, and this is not based on anything other than my own, brain power, which is scary. But, you look at the October 7th attacks in Israel, right? If you go back and you look at what was happening in Russia, Ukraine, Russia was taking some heavy, heavy losses around that time. I wouldn't bet against Russia's involvement in that October 7th attack in Israel, right? Because Putin's smart enough to know that we're going to back Israel over Ukraine any day. And that the U.S. at the time, and for most times, we can't fight two wars on two different fronts. So it's going to be one or the other. And if you go back and you look at some of the news around the time of October 7th, when the attacks happened, that the Russia-Ukraine conflict pretty much dropped from the headlines. Everything was Israeli focused. So now it's out of the headlines. Russia's doing whatever they're doing, but they're easing because now there could be a funding issue in the Ukraine from the U.S. government, because U.S. government is going to start funding Israel and the Hamas, situation there. So I think Putin is the type of guy that would, I'm not saying he orchestrated it. I'm not saying that he developed it. I'm saying that he probably gave some type of okay at some level to this.
Some level, go ahead.
So even I'll piggyback on that. So that's kind of the reason why the Europeans are somewhat worried about them. He's not gonna attack Poland. He's not gonna attack, but like those little Baltic countries, like he could easily. I mean, it wouldn't take a whole lot, right? Like you got to think they're the second most advanced army in the world with drones. They could come in. I mean, it wouldn't take much for them to come in. I mean, even Poland would probably be a pretty, He's not gonna do that, but the reason why is he might even think about doing that is because, well, one, he can't stop the war. Like if he's going to stop the war, he's not going to have a military, and then second of all, I don't know, probably the whole country is going to collapse. I don't know. He's definitely going to be out of power for sure. So with that, so if he was to attack another European country, right? The other European countries right now are sending weapons and things like that to Ukraine. Well, doing that, right, could potentially create a situation where those countries would be like, oh crap, I can't send weapons to Ukraine. Instead, I'm going to keep those for myself if I'm going to get attacked, right? Like, I don't know if the rest of the NATO is going to come in and help me out, or the rest of the are going to come in. So they're going to start hoarding their own weapons, right?
Yeah.
And taking away from what
as like a precautionary.
You're right. Yes, as could be given to Ukraine. Now that would be a big bet on Putin's part of thinking that people would just, these countries would just divide and just kind of worry about themselves, right? Instead of like unifying and being like, oh, you mess with this little country over here, we're all going to come in and help them now. So he could be betting on that. And that could be, again, another thing like what Matt said about, okaying another war somewhere else and having resources go to that over Ukraine.
It's a weird time right now because, like, we know Russia has a relationship with Iran, right? I don't think that's any secret at all. Iraq pretty much might as well be Iran 2.0.
Yeah.
At this point, Syria was under Assad, right? And kind of when you look at the whole geography of things, Iran has always wanted a straight line from Iran to Lebanon, through Iraq, through Syria, for supply lines, right? It's just easier to get from there. Russia's obviously, selling their missiles and so forth over to Iran and Syria for their air defense. Russia's got a huge force, a presence in Syria. The question is, now that Assad's gone in Syria, and you've got another terrorist running the country, which is, listen, sidebar here. This new Syrian president, a couple of interesting things about this guy, right? So this guy was an Al-Qaeda terrorist. I think he was al-Nusra. Eased sanctions on Syria because now they have this new leadership, who again is a terrorist. We're starting to share intel with him. We're media. I think he came to the White House or came to New York not too long ago for the UNGA. Like, here's what most people don't know. 6 months ago, there was a bounty on this guy. There was
leading a nation.
No, there was a rewards for justice for his capture.
Yeah.
Right? So now they, and that quietly, State Department quietly took that away. Like overnight. That was gone. Now they're like, oh, hey, we welcome you. And it's like, dude, you're dealing with a terrorist.
This is why we do this podcast, because we always end up back to the common sense point. So this is where I like where these conversations come back to us. I know that's selfish, but we're in the States. It's relevant, right?
Yeah, sure.
So here we are. We're inviting in somebody who had a bounty on their head. It just goes away. And then we invite them here.
Right? If you scratch the right back, right? Like,
Yeah.
things,
Dude,
things
it
smack-
literally went away overnight.
So you can see, I mean, from the viewer's standpoint, so why this is all relevant is you can see how it seems like this distant, biblical, ancient land. Like, we read about it over here, like, oh,
It's far away, right?
it's a headline. It's nothing more than a headline, especially for like young viewers. Like, y'all got to understand, it does come back home. You know what I mean? And
Sure.
I mean, doing the whole DHS thing, the gambit of stuff that we saw that comes back to our shores from something that it doesn't have anything to do with one thing or the other, but it always comes back to here,
Yeah.
And then there's always somebody in power that's like, oh, well, you do know that's so-and-so's cousin from like third removed,
Yeah.
probably, what I mean? Like, what the hell
Yeah.
is that?
It's crazy how these things come full circle because,
Yeah.
you would never think that, okay, back when the Syrian civil war was going on, I actually crossed into Syria. I was one of the first Americans there, north up in Qamishli. At the time, they had an airport there and they had a bunch of farmland and, it was all Kurdish area up there. Now the airport is Russian controlled and Syrian.
I think that's the only thing that they have left over there now.
I think they have some other installations,
Like
around,
infrastructure type stuff.
but
But
What, they just
the-
rain a
once
force over
Assad-
it, though? Is that how that works?
I think once Assad was out of there, they basically were, nobody liked Russians there either.
So what you're saying is, though, in a however many years ago, in that short amount of time, it's just changed hands.
it's changed hands. But there's a long relationship there, and it's not really so much. It used to be about Syria. It's more so for Russia. It's the proximity to Africa that they're after, right? Because I think that would be like their most Western installation would be Syria. And we know that Russia is all over sub-Saharan Africa, in other parts of Africa. But yeah, I think it's the importance is the proximity from Syria to Africa, right? These guys are all thick as thieves, and between Iran and Soleimani was going back and forth to Moscow, right before Trump joined him, which was a good move. That was a bold move in Iraq to hit that guy, because a lot of U.S. troops died because of that guy, right? So it was good to see him get his due. But we're also now we're sharing intel with the Taliban.
Purposely or
Yeah, I
indirectly?
mean, just directly. Now we have the Taliban's got their own intelligence agency set up. I can imagine what that looks like. But so we're sharing intel with them. And it's like, these guys are our enemy, right? These guys aren't your friends. And I can tell you, after the pullout of Afghanistan, there was this new over-the-horizon counterterrorism program
Approach,
that they wanted to run, right? And a lot of people are like, hey, you still need folks in country to confirm this and that and whatever else. But I'd tell you, after the Afghan pullout, Langley wasn't answering the phone when it comes to Afghanistan. Like, they wanted nothing to do with it. They wiped their hands, man. Within 24 hours, they wiped their hands. They were done. And but it shows you kind of what kind of bad dudes are hanging out there. Like, we hit the one terrorist. I can't remember his name, but he was a bigwig. We've been chasing him forever. Couldn't find him. I think he was hanging out in Yemen all this time, right? And all of a sudden, we joined him and finally got him. And it's been 10 plus years we've been looking for this guy, right? Where's he hanging out? He's hanging out in the government area in Afghanistan, in Kabul, right out in the balcony, having his tea. So you mean for 10 plus years, this guy was undercover. You couldn't find him, just off the grid. Now he's comfortable enough to come out and have tea on a balcony, in a Taliban-controlled city that now we're sharing intel with, that is still funding the bin Laden family. The U.S. government has to acknowledge that Hamza bin Laden is not dead. Right? Until they do that, they're not going to get everything that's going on behind the scenes. Right? Part of the U.S. government, 2019, I believe it was, Hamza bin Laden dead, right? The Brits finally walked that back not too long ago. Says, maybe he's not. Intel says that his brother, the other bin Laden son, flew to Afghanistan to see Hamza a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. Right? And this is not something new for the U.S. government. Like, U.S. government, there was a guy, we all remember Benghazi, right? The story of this video and blah, blah, blah. Total bullshit. Clinton bullshit. The guy that organized that, a guy by the name of Mukhtar Belmokhtar, right? The pirate of the Sahel. This guy's a funky looking dude. He's got one eye. He's a legend. Like, this guy's a legend. He lost his eye at a young age playing with explosives. 13.
Seems about right.
Yeah. Steeped in history.
The guy's probably 30. He looks like he's 80.
Yeah.
Right? Because he's been living a hard life. Mukhtar Belmokhtar was, at one point in his Al-Qaeda career, was number 2 under bin Laden. Right? So he's a big fish. This guy's been dead 4 times. 4 times. Frenchies said they hit him twice. Chad said they got him. And then in 2014 or 15, the U.S. said, oh, he's dead in a drone strike. But no one's ever recovered a body.
Confirmed or anything.
His wives that have been interrogated, like, nah, he's still upright. I mean, I found him in 2019, 18. One of our assets got invited to a function this guy was going to be at. Right, we had intel that he's got a guy, an escort that takes him between Libya and Algeria. He's hanging out in that sub-Saharan.
How much ground is being covered when all these guys are saying, "Oh, he's dead"?
Yeah,
and it sounds like people are using it almost as a platform. Like, no, we got him this time.
I feel like drones is like the easiest thing to be like, no, yeah, it was a bother. He was there, and then I think with
he was
Bangladesh
there,
right
now he's
there.
gone.
So
Well, here's the thing. So Mukhtar is Algerian born. His mom still lives there in Algeria. He crosses into Algeria to visit his mom. I think Algerian intelligence knows that Mukhtar is still upright. Because I think they caught wind of what we were doing. Because I got a call from the Algerian embassy in D.C. one day, and one of their intel folks wanted to speak with me up at the embassy. And I'm like, yeah, that's okay. I'll pass on that one. And I think they wanted to know what I knew as hey, we're interested because Algerian, they want we're going to prosecute our own, right? I think they use him as a pawn, or they're protecting him. It's one of the two. Back to my story of Benghazi. So the initial plot of Benghazi was to kidnap Ambassador Chris Stevens. That was the plot. And they brought in something like 750 Al-Qaeda fighters under Mukhtar's leadership. Mukhtar was the organizer of this. And the one thing that our government doesn't understand, especially State Department, because State Department, I'm sure there's some great folks in State Department. There's definitely some idiots. They built an outpost or whatever it was. It wasn't an official U.S. embassy, right? Because the U.S. embassy has to have, various security procedures and protocols in place and infrastructure, right?
Didn't they just take over some rich dude's house or something?
Yeah, it was.
But it was he was up there in the pool and all sorts, right?
Yeah, it was like an Airbnb type of thing. Yeah, like, hey, we go rent this house for you. My company actually bid on a security contract to protect that place because per U.S. Law, as far as these things go, that it has to be a U.S. firm that protects a U.S. property, a U.S. interest over abroad, right? But since it was it was a diplomatic outpost, not an embassy, they didn't follow that. So they gave it to a British company who won the contract, who then hired essentially, militia to protect it.
Wait. Yeah. So they subbed out.
They subbed out. Yep.
So now we have no control.
To some local militia, right?
Right.
Because I think the company was like Blue Mountain or whatever. They didn't have a license to operate in Libya, right? We did. Through a partner company, we had a license to operate there. We should have been an easier choice. I'm not saying that, listen, this wouldn't have happened if we were there, right? That would be foolish because there's a bigger play here.
Yeah.
But that outpost was right around the corner from Al-Qaeda safe house, right? That's what State Department didn't know.
Lack of intel,
lack of common sense, lack of, hey, you shouldn't even fucking be there.
Yeah.
Right? But here's the thing is that you got to understand the U.S. government doesn't understand that these folks, these locals, they will never back an American over a local. Because long after we're gone,
birds of a feather,
they still have to live down the street from these guys. And when you look at the reports of Benghazi and the guys that survived, they say, hey, everybody knew everybody. Everybody knew what the fuck was going on but us. That's because these guys all grew up together. And half of them are part of one group. The other half, are part of another group. And
even if they don't verbally say this is what's going on, all they have to do is watch patterns.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like they're getting geared up for something.
Yeah.
We've been seeing this
the
since
streets
age
get
12.
quiet. The streets get quiet.
Yeah.
Something's about to happen.
It's like, one night it's busy, next night it's not, right? There's some questions to be asked there.
Yeah.
But everybody knew it's like the worst kept secret, right? Everybody knew what's going on but us. We should have had a better detail there, a more thorough U.S. presence. This 17th straight, martyr group, whatever, they were never going to come escort you out, right? That was never going to happen. You can call those guys all day long. They are not going to do that over their fellow brothers. They're not going to pick you over them. That's wishful thinking. But 750 Al-Qaeda fighters to kidnap Ambassador Chris Stevens. That was the plot, and it was all Al-Qaeda guys. These aren't locals. Some are locals, but these aren't. This is not a local orchestrated type of thing. This is a bigger play. And it kind of goes back to what we were just talking about. Russia, strong through that area, strong through Syria. Now we have a new terrorist in charge of Syria. You couldn't take Assad out back in the civil war because the SOC, the Syrian Opposition Coalition, wasn't strong enough to hold the country. Right? You take Assad out, you create a power vacuum that SOC was not going to hold. ISIS would take over. Right? And to us, that was like, oh, that's bad. You
seriously.
You don't want that, right?
Yeah.
So now let's put an Al-Qaeda guy in there, and let him run it. Let's see if we're gonna have a better outcome.
Yeah.
And it's just it's crazy thinking, but Russia have their ties into a lot of different places, and I just don't think that there is a clean out for Putin. At minimum, like I said, he's going to keep his land. It's got to, right? I mean, that's going to be a non-starter. I think there'll probably be some rules around Ukraine joining NATO.
Yeah.
I don't think that's ever going to happen.
Well, that's what lost in 2014. That's what it started for. Russia was getting stressed about NATO giving them influence, right?
But you also have to
having
think,
Eastern
that
influence.
is what happened. Like, so they
got stressed out of
They had
it.
a whole revolution, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Their current president, Yanukovych, I think,
Mm-hmm.
he was basically, just like a Putin's buddy, right? So when people wanted, Ukraine has always wanted to be closer to Europe. Like that's been, they've been doing that. That's been a thing for a while. So when Yanukovych didn't sign, I think there was some kind of a vote or something that they had where it was going to put him kind of closer on that path. That didn't happen.
He bailed, didn't he?
He ended up bailing, yeah, because people protested. There was actually the whole protest started with some college kids basically walking out on the streets. Well, he ordered essentially snipers like to shoot some of these kids basically. So as soon as that happened, like all hell broke loose. Everybody, half the country basically just started rioting essentially the streets of Kiev. Yeah. I was actually there in 2019, and I kind of like where it all happened.
Really?
Remember those? There was a group of about, I don't know, I think 14. I don't know. Their pictures are on a wall.
Oh, okay.
And they're still they're still like
a feeling there.
Yeah, exactly.
A sentiment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They have like a whole like shrine to them essentially, like in the middle of the city for it.
So anyway, so we're trying to predict the future here by saying that Russia is just going to say, all right, we're going to let this happen, but we're going to reshift our thinking to Syria.
I think the Syria thing is that right now Russia is losing basically all say in most of the things. Like Azerbaijan was another one of theirs.
Hey, that's a hell of a place to go to.
Yeah.
Azerbaijan, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, it's supposed to be nice, man.
I bet it's
No, it's supposed to be great. Yeah.
Well, they're I mean, they pretty much lost control over that. I mean, I think the president of that country is just straight up telling Putin to F off.
Pack mode. Yeah.
Yeah. Their influence in Syria is also diminishing, which is pretty much gone. And so I think that's part of the reason why America is so keen on buddying up with Syria is to replace the influence with Western, of being like, hey, you want to be with these losers, or do you want to be more with the West and get all these extra perks for your people? I'm assuming that most of them are still wanting peace, and if they're offered a better prospect with the United States, they will probably take that as because the other alternative is Russia, and they've seen what Russians do. I mean, they leveled half of that country, right?
Yeah.
Which is that's how they liberate.
They're gonna pick the better of the two evils.
Yeah.
It's mostly Muslim, right? Syria's mostly Muslim.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly. So they're gonna side with the Christians on that. That'll be interesting. But like you better say
like Russians are Muslims either. You know? It's like
that's true.
So
they're
slaughtering Christians right now.
Yeah. So them picking us would be ironic, to say the least.
But
like that's the lesser of two evils.
It's the lesser of two evils for them, and so I think that's the reason why those things like this bounty was dropped on this guy's head so quickly. Like I think all of that is happening because of that reason. But yeah, like Matt, what you were saying, that as far as the land goes, I think that's a given. I don't think that Ukraine has enough forces to be able to retake that land, and I don't think Russia has enough force to take over. You got to think that the land that they took over though is like partial land in all the regions that they were initially planning to do. Like there's a whole region that they put into their constitution, and they lost that within like months. Like so it was like we have it, and then like a month later, like you don't, right? So they really have not taken, since the war started, they have not taken over any of the regions that they originally wanted completely at all. I think it's almost like a stalemate now, where you're just killing a crap ton of people every day, and there is nothing that's gonna come of it.
We talked about this earlier, and this is a whole different direction in this conversation, but we talked about hostages and U.S. involvement in getting U.S. citizens back and so forth. I wish, and we were pushing for, it's a story for a different time, what I could share about that, but we were pushing for the U.S. government to leverage Russia. We've got people in Syria that are being held, right? One, Austin Tice. That was one that I was keyed up on, is this guy, disappeared, right? I mean, it's been 12 years, maybe 10 years, somewhere around there. And like the only thing that we've ever seen of him in that period of time was about 30 days after he was taken. There was a video of him on his knees and some guys, covered up. And, it looked like they were getting ready to finish this guy off.
Yeah.
And, but when you start looking at the train was wrong.
Didn't match.
Video,
Yeah.
right. The dress was wrong. And still to this day, if you'd asked me if I was a betting man, the Syrian government took Austin or have control of him. We were pretty close to verifying that a couple of years ago. We just needed some U.S. government help from a 3-letter agency that didn't want to provide us with any help. This is not a point to pat yourself on the back on, but we were right.
Yeah.
Like our in was a real in, even when people doubted it, because just recently in the last 3 or 4 months or so, it became public that guy was the guy that would be able to know if he was still alive or not. Well, we had access to that guy, and that guy confirmed they have him. So I wish we could have leveraged Russia a little bit more with Assad to get him back, right? And now all of a sudden they can't find him, right? They don't know where he is. This new leadership now is supposedly wanting to help and blah, blah, blah. And I get why we didn't do this, right? Because his parents were worried. The last time something like this happened, the captors actually called the guy's mom and said, hey, come to the airport and get him, right? We're going to release him. She flew over there. She's a UK person. Flew all the way there. And when she was walking on the tarmac to go over there, they shot him right in the head, right in front of her, and killed him. So from a parent's perspective, I can understand, like, hey, I don't want my son, to end up that way.
Yeah.
But then again, the other piece of this pie is, this guy's been in a not so place, great place for 10 years. Like at some point, I would want to know. We go back to influence, when you look at like the Raven 23 guys from Blackwater, and these are Square situation, and obviously that was an Obama thing and a Hillary thing. And when you go back to, like I said, about this Syrian president being a terrorist, their number one witness to what they said that happened over at Nizar Square was a terrorist, right? And he was on a terror watch list. So the government flew him over here to the United States to testify in court, not knowing that he was on a terrorist watch list. The same guys that put out the list did not know this guy was on the watch list until he got to D.C., holed up in a hotel room, and somebody said, that guy's on a terror watch list. And like, oh, shit, we can't use him.
They didn't check his Delta flight tickets.
Yeah.
You printed the list. How do you not know? How do you not know this guy's a terrorist, right? Here's the thing. The court found those 4 guys innocent. Okay? The Raven 23 guys, the 4 guys were found innocent, right? President Malik made a phone call to Hillary Clinton's office and said, retry them, because I'd hate for Exxon to lose their oil contracts over here. Next thing you know, they retried him. And these guys got life. Right? Life for shooting terrorists that bought Iraqi police uniforms. And Trump pardoned them. Thank God he did. But if you get a chance to listen to that story, you want to talk about corruption? Like, I always thought, you deal in Africa, you deal with different places, Middle East, they're all known for the corruption. Ukraine. That's how Dima got here. He got that jet and in some kind of graft. I think Dima called me yesterday and said there was a warrant for my arrest from Forsyth County Sheriff's Department. I got a call yesterday on my cell phone.
Does it spam or scam?
Yeah.
They said if you don't give me your credit,
one too.
if you don't give me your credit card number,
I didn't show up to a jury duty.
Yeah.
Is that one?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, nice.
And,
It was good.
so the guy
The guy
called.
sounded like a redneck too, right? You were like, well, this is pretty.
No,
this might be from our county.
This guy sounded official.
Yeah.
Right? And so I answered the phone, no caller ID. And I'm like, all right, well, that's not unnormal for me, right?
Yeah.
So, like, I answer those calls because I get a lot of those calls. And so the guy gets on the phone, and he starts talking to me like, I'm from Forsyth County Sheriff's Department, and you're Matthew Peter. Heck, I had my address, everything else. I'm like, yeah, that's me.
Public information.
And I thought, like, something maybe happened to my kid.
Mm-hmm.
One of my girls or whatever. So I'm standing by waiting, and the guy sounded official.
Yeah.
And he's like,
Even said 10-4 on the phone.
he's like, I got a warrant for your arrest. And I was like, wow, okay. This is going to be an interesting day. I was like, what did I do? He's like, you didn't appear for a federal jury duty.
They don't make those phone calls. They just show up at your house.
He's like, did you know that you had jury duty? I was like, no. He's like, well, you do. And now I'm going to have to get into our financial crimes person on the line here next.
Financial crimes.
Because, who received this summons if you didn't? No, that's fine, man. I was like, listen, you got my address. Yeah, you come on down and arrest me. I'll be here. Like,
Yeah.
my back's fucked up. I'm not going to be running from you. Right? So I'll be outside waiting. Actually, it'll give me something to do. You know what I mean? And I was like, you called the wrong motherfucker today. Because, so I'm like, hey, what precinct are you at? He's like, I'm downtown. I was like, what's your name again? And he told me. I was like, I'm not going to say his name.
So, yeah.
I was like, you know TP down there? He's like, yeah. I was like, well, you ask TP about me. But in the meantime, come on, because I'm outside waiting on you. And about 10 minutes go by, and I call downtown Sheriff's Department.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, you got a guy by this name? Yeah, we do. Like, well, good. Get him on the phone because I'm still outside waiting. And my back's getting sore. I'm be sitting down. Like, I'm going to be moving around.
So, wait, he found somebody's registry?
Used the real
You used some guy's
badge number.
So, yeah, so here's the thing. They spoof. They call you with
That's pretty legit.
with a real deputy's name.
Except they don't ever tell you they're coming, but other than that, that's pretty legit.
They'll actually use, they'll spoof the real phone number.
Yeah.
And everything else. And the lady's like, it's a scam. I'm like, well, yeah, I figured. Because I just told him, come on down and get me. Like, I ain't got shit else to do.
Yeah, this will be
You know
good.
what I mean?
This will be a good little
Like,
day.
maybe you give me some fucking medicine when I get down there.
Yeah,
My back hurts. So you guys,
in the ward.
you guys got pain pills or something down there? Because I'm fucking fresh out of them. And what's for lunch?
Yeah.
But
Oh God, dude.
yeah.
So
and
that
I was
happened
like,
to you too, Dima?
Oh, it happened to
Same
me.
phone call?
Yeah, it was similar to that, but it was at jury duty. And I was like, so you're telling me that that your system sucks that bad, that you went through the whole process of selecting a jury duty, and I was supposed to be there to be pre-selected for this thing, and then multiple things were sent out, and now you're calling me about this? I was like, I'm here.
Yeah.
yeah. I'm like, come on. Because I'm bored anyway.
Well, there you go. Word to the wise for the viewers.
Yeah, watch out because they're getting sophisticated for that shit. Always find out where they are and call back.
Most government agencies will always send you paper mail. It won't be in an email. And I'm sure there's a lot of viewers that already know this, but if you have a warrant for your arrest, they're not going to let you know they're coming. So,
but here's the thing. Like, I look at, like, my parents are old. They would get that call and probably freak out.
Freak out, yeah. We've had people in our family get massively scammed over the phone.
Yeah, but they would.
IRS.
Well, IRS is a whole fucking scam in the first place.
Some private.
Don't even get me started.
Private entity started. Yeah.
But
oh God, we're about to do it. Wait, we still have to talk about No Kings.
yeah. Well, hold on. I'm not gonna get into the IRS situation because I don't want to bash them too bad because I think I'm already watch list by those guys. So I don't want to fuck with them too bad. But here's the thing: if my parents got that call, they would call me and say, "Hey, I got this call."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But some people, wouldn't. Some people would do it, right? Always ask for a badge number. Ask for a badge number. That's it should be, if you're here locally, It's a 4-digit number. There's your safety.
This will be a good highlight reel.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah.
All right. So Russia, Ukraine, anything to add there?
We should drip more of those into this thing.
I think, well,
Just common sense for the young viewers. Like, hey,
yeah,
don't sit across from a guy with a laser pointer.
that's true. That's a bad.
So anyway, yeah, speaking on hostages and being so lucky to live here that we don't have to worry about getting our faces carved off by a bunch of terrorists. So George Soros is indirectly funding.
I think he's directly funded through one of his organizations.
Well, I looked it up, and so he's got this. What is it? It's GSO, I think is what it's called. So
oh no, listen. Here's the thing.
Isn't his son? I thought his son is now involved.
with.
So he's almost taken the reins of George Soros.
Oh, really?
From what I heard, he is even more radical than that. So.
No, we're talking about the No Kings protest.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to figure out when the fuck we even had a king last.
Yeah.
It's been
This
a while.
country has never had one. Well, maybe the Clintons. Maybe they were the only kings and queens we had because they're the only people that have somehow been able
Which one was the
to do whatever they wanted and gotten away.
Which one was the queen? Was it Bill?
Well, one of them got oral sex performed on them. So
And it wasn't Hillary, I hope. Thank God. I mean,
so I guess
somebody's got a really good stomach.
and I hate to make light of a serious situation, but I just don't. I feel like most people that are at these events are more of the left-leaning crowd, but they don't realize that the left-leaning crowd is just as guilty in doing things without asking permission and then covering it up like a king would do.
Did you look at the people that attended this protest?
No, I haven't. No.
So
Almost made a joke, but no.
bunch of old people.
It's a bunch of white. It's a bunch of white old.
Yeah,
Like Bernie Sanders types?
Yeah, like
a bunch of bunch of old people. Like
Essentially.
they took a bus over to Costco. And I'm like, hey, you guys want some free coffee and $50 to hold a sign for 2 hours?
Oh, you're saying it looks like the like all of a sudden there's just a pile of bricks on the side of the road that was somehow put there for the protest?
It's like have to show up to a protest and everybody has the same damn sign and same message and everything else. Like
Blue hair, fucking dykes.
Okay, so here comes the common sense piece. That's nice that you like that kind of thing. But what I was going to try to say is
Semi-purple.
the common sense piece that we feel like the world is missing is that you see the headlines, you watch the videos, but you have to watch the video. You have to look at the sign. You know, you have to look at what's going on. It's like, wait, the crowd actually is only like 10 people. It's not what the headline will say, droves amass in the streets of Portland today. And it's 10 people with little crappy cardboard signs that they were like, hey, if you show up, we'll give you the signs. You don't even have to do that part.
That's exactly
Well,
it.
I think the common sense piece of this is that we all know that we don't have a king.
Yeah.
So when if you had a king, you wouldn't be able to fucking protest, you assholes.
That's true. You'd be slain in the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, this is, I saw some lady
That is true.
on,
You wouldn't be allowed to.
Yeah, like
I
see what you're doing right there? You're protesting. That wouldn't be.
I saw this fucking Democratic lady, and this goes back to our first episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are you protesting? Protesting ICE raids. Well, they're fucking illegals.
Mm-hmm.
Protesting, our loss of rights. What rights did you lose?
Mm-hmm.
Like, shut up and go home. And like these people should be shipped off somewhere. Ship these fucking people off somewhere, because obviously they've lost their mind. I saw this old bastard was singing a song they wrote for No Kings, and essentially it was like him playing guitar. It was like No Kings, and the crowd were like, No Kings.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what a dipshit you are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, is this all you have to do is write a fucking song of 2 words over and over again?
Egomaniac.
I watched the protest the other day. It was on the news, and one of the guys was holding up a sign that said "Abolish borders," and I was like, I can't even begin to even fathom how dumb you have to be. First of all, to be there holding that sign, but second of all, to even comprehend what the hell are you even holding up? Like no board. Like that's not even. You don't even have a country. Like what are you gonna How do you draw the line? Like, would you even draw the line where you pay
You
pesos?
just live in a puddle.
Yeah,
a puddle of
where you're
land
paying pesos and where you're paying Canuck dollars, like
in the
where-
same
yeah,
gas station.
exactly. Like,
Yeah.
how does that work?
It gives
out
me
exactly?
it
Like,
gives me a fucking headache. Where
literally the definition of a country, the border, right? Isn't
Yeah.
that like the first thing of a country?
these people protest Trump. Not one of them protested fucking Biden sniffing kids or any of the bullshit, like the dazed and confused fucking Biden of having Alzheimer's being the president. Like what an international embarrassment that guy was when they get media and he's like, or he's trying to fucking wander off somewhere during a press conference, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But hey, that's okay. Fuck, that's great. We love that. But now that, oh, your tariffs are hurting us and you know, you're getting rid of illegals and you're doing it. They're fucking illegals. Last time I was in DC, I stayed about a block from the White House. Like, I made it a point, like, to go fuck with these people because I had to. Like, why wouldn't you, right? When you're in DC, you have nothing else to do. Like, why would you get down there and like mess with these folks, right? Because it's a blast. But you would see them walking down. You would see them walk.
Thrills.
Yeah, you would say like it's free entertainment. You know, you see these guys walking down the street, down to the White House, carrying their lunch pails, like they're going to like you know,
They're going to an assembly
like
at
some
the
type of
local-
construction job somewhere.
Yeah.
Look at my job, so that's the like best thing.
Well, no, it's like they're getting paid. Like somebody's funding
Ah,
all
that's
this
true.
shit, and they're down there protesting for pro-Palestinian, you know, this and that. And you know, I'm just like, no king's like, why waste your time? Watch football.
Yeah.
Do something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That I literally was on Facebook the other day, and somebody that I don't know why they're still on my Facebook, but they were
Keep them around.
yeah, it's just entertainment, and they literally created like 15 of these stupid signs, right, and posted pictures of them. And I was like, of all the things you could do, you could be hanging out with your family, you could be like going to the park, you could be watching your kids play, I don't know, sport or
You
whatever.
could go jump off your fucking roof.
Yeah, that's always a good. Yeah, that's always a better option. But
Okay, I'll also have a pretty to add on to what you're saying. You could go to your local government and start
But-
systematically working your opinions in,
well,
putting them into the democratic system, and seeing if they stick.
that's
Instead of
exactly
writing
it.
15 cardboard signs.
well, it's the thing is, it's like so you did all that, right?
want
and then
change.
and then the
Yeah.
next morning you woke up and guess what? You still have the same president.
Yeah,
You dumbass.
it's changed.
That's what I'm
Well,
saying.
yeah,
It's
unless
like
you lost out all that time.
they,
with your kids, like you idiot.
they're raising awareness, which I sometimes wonder if CNN just pays all these people just so they have something to put on a newsreel over and over and over. CNN's owned by the CIA, just so everyone knows.
Are they?
Yes.
I knew that.
Most news channels are either owned or heavily influenced by the CIA, and they loop. It's terrifying when you start breaking it down. Go look that one up
I don't know about
in your spare.
Interesting.
When you're not making cardboard signs for no kings, go look up all.
But here's the thing. I put out a thing on our neighborhood Facebook page. Thankfully, the people of Forsyth County kept us safe from the king. And now, like, I'm the fucking bad guy. It gets taken down often. It gets on there, right?
Huh.
And then it gets taken down because too many people complain about it.
Oh,
What is there to complain? Like, fuckhead, you don't have a king, you asshole.
That's a
did anybody in the neighborhood say we had a king on the Facebook page?
Well, I mean, I'm sure we have
Besides
we have a few folks that, you know, I'm sure they believe we have a king, right?
So it was just unprovoked outlet of.
These are the student drivers of the neighborhood. I will say that. Okay.
God.
So, and I'm not talking about students either. They have the stickers.
You just
They're
they
nice
just have the stickers. It's
Yeah.
they
If you're students, they're the oldest fucking students that you've ever seen.
they're still learning.
Right.
Everybody's still learning.
They're still learning. I know somebody's wife in this in this table here
I know who took it down. It's not mine though.
is a moderator. I
She
know.
doesn't moderate. Last time she moderated, her friend group fell apart, and she said, "I'm never doing this again. Y'all are in charge." Just so the
Our friend
my
group
wife
fell
is
apart because of the
one
way you
of the
look at them.
busiest humans on earth. Do what?
Because of the way you look at them. That's probably why it fell apart.
What do you mean?
Like, I know when I come over to the house, the way you stare at me.
Wait, is it a good stay? You like it or no?
I mean, it's not bad. I mean, you notice when you invite me over, I come over, right? So,
Make you feel special.
but that's not very often though. Dima invited me over on Saturday.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Because where were you at? Fucking getting drunk, probably.
No,
Where were you at Saturday?
I'm a non-drinker now.
Oh, yeah?
Officially, yeah. I can't do it anymore, man. Saturday.
You only drink on Sundays now?
Yeah. Straight after
closer,
church.
closer to Jesus.
Straight after church, I come home and
Yeah.
wipe it.
Casey got drunk on a Saturday, on a Sunday a couple of weekends ago, and he couldn't teach Bible study on Monday. Fucking stank like alcohol, and he was all like, "Oh, bro, BR is all pissed at me because I smell like fucking alcohol, and I got drunk on the Lord's Day."
Yeah, it was rough day. Cut loose a little bit.
So anyway, back to my point. It gets taken down because too many people complain. Like, I'm the fucking bad guy. Like, I'm the one that's not using common sense here.
Maybe they just felt like it wasn't relevant to the neighborhood.
Whatever. Yeah, that could be it. Whatever.
Like, hey, DOT's ruining our front gate. We're gonna have a gate. We're gonna have 3 lanes, and then Matt just comes in with no keys, just like yelling at everybody.
I was thanking them for keeping us safe from the fucking king. Right?
Right.
So, I mean, you would think they would take that and like, oh, okay, that's not awful nice of them to do. I think they do all this bullshit. Whatever happened to the free speech?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, if you are a chick with a dick, you can say whatever you want.
Yes.
But you can't say, hey, like, you're not a chick, you're a fucking dude.
You could just be like a chick wanting to have a dick.
Because then,
And you
And
can
then automatically puts
be
you in a
able to
whole
say
different-
whatever you want.
well,
Yeah, right, just
once
category.
you tell them, like, hey, you know, you're not really a chick because you got balls,
Mm-hmm.
right? How about Biden's DHS person, chick with a dick that was stealing everybody's fucking luggage? Did you see that? She got arrested. It got arrested like 2 or 3 times for fucking stealing people's luggage in the airport. It was a Biden appointed fucking person,
Oh,
right? It was a high level,
that's pretty high.
and it got arrested a couple times for fucking stealing people's luggage at the airport.
That's interesting.
Have y'all ever wondered about the grammatical importance of how to say they, them, theirs, and all that?
I don't do that shit, man. Listen,
No.
I don't
know.
even want to fucking.
I
talk
don't
to you
really
if you gotta,
participate.
if
I
you don't put your pronouns in there.
Yeah,
like,
but the problem is
If your name's Kevin, motherfucker, I know you're a dude.
Yeah. But what I'm saying,
yeah.
when people that use pronouns ask you to use them, it's oftentimes not English. It's not correct
that-
English.
Thank you.
Punctually, it doesn't
That has
make
been
like
pissing me
punctuality,
off since the
punctuality,
beginning.
but-
It's like that is not English. Like,
That's
you
not
can't
a-
just make up.
that's not a
shit and
correct
just say it.
sentence.
Yeah, and then just assume that I'm just gonna
Yeah.
follow your incorrect like speech there. Like that's not proper.
Yeah,
That's-
that's not a proper sentence. Like what? I mean, whatever. But if you want to start a revolution, man, you got to do it the right way. And starting with bad English is usually gonna, you know.
I didn't really do well in school, so all I'm saying is that if
English is my second language, so you know I can't.
if I'm talking to somebody and their name is Dima, I'm like, all right, that's a dude.
Yeah.
Right. Matt, dude. Casey, yeah,
Questionable.
yeah, that's a he.
I know this.
Yeah.
Hey, when I send emails to people, my wife's name is very female.
Bert.
It's obvious. Mine is also
Very
female.
female. Yeah.
So when I send
That's
people
why
email,
he
they go,
likes
"Hey, Miss Casey, just wanted to follow up with you on your kid's behavior report," and they don't know who they're talking to.
Look,
But sometimes it works in my favor.
Casey got pink eye.
I wonder if the
It's a
camera
little
likes
sticky.
All right. So listen, let's wrap this up. I got 2 rapid fire discussions. Right. And then
which is impossible for Matt. But okay,
then
we'll try.
Casey, shut up. Then Casey's gonna close it out and finish up. Okay, rapid fire. Now that we have peace in Palestine, right? Can we send all these pro-Palestinians back to fucking there now? Like, so Trump should round up everybody from all these colleges. Like, we know who you are. You all wanted it. All right, here's your fucking plane. Get the fuck out of here and go. You guys agree with that or not?
Do you want to send them to Gaza?
Because
I think what the problem is
because that's what they wanted.
once you send them there, right? Like they're not going to be the problem then is that they're not going to come back because they're going to get stoned in the streets. So what I think they should do is have a private tour, like take them over there and then just do like a loop-de-loop. And they like let them see what it's all about in like a bulletproof bus, and then bring them back and then let them tell the rest of the
their opinions.
then tell them.
I think they caused so much trouble that, okay, listen, you guys wanted this, here you go. Be careful what you ask for. You might just get it, right? So there you go. Go. Fucking peace. Go on over there. Okay, next
And is
question.
that what you would do if you were president for a day? Your next
Well,
question?
no, I would do something a little bit better now. I mean, that's a good thing. That would be like if I had 2 days, that would be definitely day 2, right? All right. If you were president for a day, one thing you would do.
I would just stop the war in Ukraine.
Nice. What would I do?
Yeah.
I would go back
Change your name.
yeah, I might change my name. I would want to see all classified files and see if we went to the moon, see who killed JFK.
Yeah, they released all that shit, right?
Not the moon.
Well, who gives a fuck about the moon?
I do, because it shows a greater issue with the government.
I feel like those people will bullshit the government to tell them. So like all the papers that they got is just gonna prove the bullshit that they were given.
I mean, Dima's response is
I would just want an insider look on some of the lies.
It's a respect. I guess yours is like, that's a fucking waste of a day.
No, because then I could tell all the American people, hey, everything you know is a lie, and we're gonna restart today.
Let me tell you what I would do.
That's what I would do.
Okay, this is what I would do. I would go bomb fucking France.
Why?
Because everyone else is like,
they got crepes in the tower.
Yeah, but who cares? They'd be like, oh shit, that guy's crazy.
Oh, it's
being unpredictable, right? That's why Trump, when he in his first term, so nobody fucked with him, because nobody knew what he was going to do. He wasn't an ordinary politician, like, so he wasn't predictable. And I would go bomb fucking France. Sorry for you French people, but I would, because then, like, say, whoever in Iran, they're gonna look at that like, oh shit. Kim Jong-un, with his Hillary Clinton clothes.
Wait, why wouldn't we just hit somebody we don't like? Isn't France is with us?
Like, you hit your friends and be like, holy crap, this guy's off his rocker.
Is it better if you hit your ally?
That's what he does to his friends.
Right? Because, yeah, exactly. Like, fuck it. If he did that, like, I'd bomb Canada.
The French Foreign Legion is the one superpower that we have where they can go do some crazy, nasty stuff with the most crazy population of people. I wouldn't want to dismantle that.
I'm just saying.
They can get a lot of stuff.
Okay, maybe I'd bomb the French part of Canada.
Why don't you could just hit like a domestic state, probably.
No, that might be a little overboard. But
that's where Matt will draw the line.
I think
that's a little too crazy.
Because I would hit Canada, and then all our adversaries out there were like, fuck, this guy's crazy. Okay. Like, if he does that to his ally, what is he going to do to us?
I like it.
Okay.
Make a statement.
All right, next episode. Probably going to have to do the next episode in 2 parts. We got to figure that out, because it's going to be a lot to undig here and talk about. But stay tuned for that. It's going to have we're going to have a discussion on terror and also the war on Christianity, which is a real thing. It's going to be a great discussion. I'm going to try and get us a guest on that would have some firsthand knowledge of this, fresh back out of the Middle East, to deal with this one thing. So I'm trying to get that set up. And yeah, so definitely stay tuned for that. And Casey, if you want to close this out,
Dima, did you have anything else that you were wanting to cover that you didn't get to hit on?
No, I think the flashing dick on the face and and all the topics that we covered were on point. I love the show, man.
Yeah, awesome. Dude, thanks so much for being here. You gave a lot of pure insight. It's things that we maybe could have known or researched, but it wouldn't have come from a place of. It's obvious that you have some passion on it.
Yeah, I mean, I've been following it because I said, it's just super close to home. So
I just met Dima on the way here at the Home Depot parking lot.
Yeah, it was.
I was like, let's go.
I was buying some signs for my next protest.
Yeah,
there we go.
He's the king.
Everybody, that was the Ukrainian dream, and this was our second episode. And I know some of the stuff we talked about gets a little off track, but we try to have fun in here. We try to give you guys something to laugh about while we're covering topics that are hopefully educational, especially for maybe some younger viewers or some people that think they got it figured out that maybe they don't. So if you like today's episode, do all the follows, all the subscribes. You can find us anywhere, iHeart, all the major platforms, Spotify and YouTube, obviously.
See y'all. Till next time.
Bye, guys.